So, it is a fully integrated available. So, either Linux or Mac OS operating system support the third party mono the many languages available. So, dynamically भी ਅਸੀਂ statically ਭਾਵੇਂ statically C#, visual.net, C++, all the compilers can be run the .NET frameworks. So, there is a common language runtime services execution engine of .NET framework. All the .NET program execution under the supervision of CLR granting certain properties and behave in the area of memory management, security, exception handling. So, अगर memory management की गल करिए ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਾਂਗੇ कि जिन्ने भी functions ने ਅਸੀਂ either ਅਸੀਂ कोई execution arithmetic operation perform करना है ਜਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ load and store करना ਜਾਂ exception handling ਜਾਂ all the branching type of all the branchings. So, we have to be memory managed in the common language runtime engine. So, ਇਸੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਹੀ .NET ਨੂੰ common runtime engine ਕਿਹਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਕਿ ਹਰ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੋਡ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਵਿਜ਼ੂਅਲ ਬੇਸਿਕ ਤੇ ਜਾਂ .NET framework ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਵਿਜ਼ੂਅਲ ਬੇਸਿਕ C#, C++ ਦੇ ਕੰਪਾਈਲਰ ਤੇ ਰਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹ .NET ਤੇ ਈਜ਼ੀਲੀ ਰਨ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਬਟ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਹੋਏਗਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਰਨ ਟਾਈਮ ਹੈ ਰਨ ਟਾਈਮ ਇਜ਼ ਆਲਸੋ ਇਨ ਦਾ ਐਗਜ਼ੀਕਿਊਸ਼ਨ ਆਫ ਆਲਸੋ ਆਲ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਇਜ਼ ਫਾਸਟ ਰੈਦਰ ਦੈਨ ਅਦਰ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮਿੰਗ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ. ਇਸੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਹੀ ਅਸੀਂ .NET ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਦੇ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਡਿਜ਼ਾਈਨਰ ਨੇ so they prefer ke all the software and all the projects main projects are in today's scenario run on the .NET framework. So, the .NET framework introduced the common type of system. This is called common type of system. Specification define all possible data types, programming constructs support by CLR, how they may not interact with each other conforming to the common language infrastructure. So, because of the feature of .NET framework support exchange of type and object instant between the libraries application written using any conforming .NET language. So, ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀ ਫੀਚਰ .NET ਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ they support exchange type and object instance of between the library functions all type of application run in the .NET framework. So, these are the base class already we have discussed simplified deployment, security, the design of address some of the valuables such as buffer overflows machine have been exploited by the malicious software. Additionally, .NET provide a common security model for all applications. ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਅਦਰਵਾਈਜ਼ C ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜਾਂ C++ ਹਰੇਕ ਲਈ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਵੱਖਰਾ ਸਿਕਿਉਰਿਟੀ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਡਿਜ਼ਾਈਨ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੋਊਗਾ ਬਟ ਇਨ ਦਾ .NET framework we have using the common security model for all type of the application. So, इसे करके new technology for the Microsoft application development the support fully managed है but also hybrid mix. So, hybrid mix ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀ ਕੰਪਾਈਲਰ ਨੇ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਉਹ C ਦਾ ਜਾਂ C++ ਦਾ ਜਾਂ ਵਿਜ਼ੂਅਲ ਬੇਸਿਕ ਦਾ ਸੋ all compiler ਦੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਜਿਹੜੇ source code ਹੈ that should be run on the .NET framework. ਜਿਸੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ hybrid mix managed native through the p invoke and managed unmanaged C++ which means easier to write the code does not a lot. So, ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਹੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਾਈ ਦਾ .NET framework is so popular ਇਸੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਈਜ਼ੀਲੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹਦਾ ਕੋਡ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਲਿਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੈਮਰੀ ਲੀਕੇਜ it does not have any memory leakage. So, easily handle ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਈਜ਼ੀਲੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਡਿਜ਼ਾਈਨਿੰਗ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇੰਪੈਕਟਸ ਨੇ ਉਹ lot of ਡਿਜ਼ਾਈਨਿੰਗ ਇੰਪੈਕਟਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਤੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਾਈਡ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ. ਸੋ ਇਸੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਆਪਰੇਟਿੰਗ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਨੇ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਲਾਈਨਕਸ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀਏ ਜਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਵਿੰਡੋਜ਼ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਮੈਕOS all the third party operating system can be support your .NET framework. So, all language both are dynamic priority and RNProB and the static C# and Visual Basic .NET or C++, both object oriented C++, visual.net or C plus function or functional. So ਸਾਰੇ ਕੰਪਾਈਲਰਾਂ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ .NET ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਐਗਜ਼ੀਕਿਊਸ਼ਨ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਰਿਪੀਟ ਕਰਦਾ, what is the MSIL? ASP.NET can be write the code in many different languages such as a Visual Basic, C#, other. When the code is compiled using associate compiler, it is translated into language independent CPU independent representation called a Microsoft Intermediate Language. So runtime of MSIL run in the context of .NET framework, which translate in MSIL into CPU specific instruction for the processor on the computer running or application. So common code improve the performance, security, stability and interoperability. So once again the compilation code improve the performance and security or stability of interoperability. So Microsoft Intermediate Language or Intermediate Language is machine independent code generated by .NET framework after the compilation of program written in any language by you. So ਅਸੀਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੀ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਕੋਈ ਕੋਡ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਤਾਂ ਇਟ ਇਜ਼ ਰਨ ਇਨ ਦਾ .NET framework. ਤਾਂ MSIL known as the CIL, ਇਸੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਹੀ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ CIL ਔਰ common intermediate language ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। So MSIL is CPU independent instruction set of into which the .NET framework program are compiled. It contain instructions for loading, storing, initializing and calling the method of objects. So combined with metadata and the common type of system, the MSIL allow for true cross language integration prior to execution. MSIL is converted your machine code, it is not a interpreted. So when compiling the managed code, the compiler translated your source code into Microsoft Intermediate Language MSIL, so which CPU independent set of instruction that can be efficiently converted into native code. So common intermediate language pronounced either CIL or KIL, formerly called Microsoft Intermediate Language, is the lowest level human readable programming language. In the common language, the infrastructure and .NET framework language which target the .NET framework compiled to CIL, common intermediate language, which assembled into bytecode. So CLI is in object orient assembly language and entirely the stack based. Stack based means so first in last out. It is executed by the virtual machine. So common language, common intermediate language, the common intermediate language CIL pronounced either CIL or KIL, formally called it is a Microsoft Intermediate Language, the lowest level human readable programming language defined by the common language infrastructure CLI specification and used to .NET framework or Mono. The language which target the CLI compatible runtime environment compiled to CIL, which assembled into an object code has a byte code style format. The CLI is in object code assembly language and entirely stack based. It is byte code translated into native code or executed by the virtual machine. The CLI was originally known as a Microsoft Intermediate Language. During the beta release, the .NET framework due the standardization of C# and the common infrastructure language, the bytecode is officially known as a CLI. During compilation of CLI programming language, the source code is translated into a CLI code rather than a platform processor specific object code. The CLI is a CPU and platform independent instruction set that can be executed in any environment supporting and common language infrastructure such as the .NET runtime, the window or cross platform mono runtime. In the theory, this eliminates the need of distributed CIL, them assembled into form of so called bytecode or CLI assembly is created. Upon the execution of CLI assembly, its code is passed through the runtime is JIT compiler, generate native code ahead of time. Compilation may also be used, which eliminate this step, but the cost of executable file portability. So, native code is executed by the computer's processor, different executable file or different platform, the CPU type. The CLI code is verified for safety during the runtime, providing better security and readability. Then the natively compiled executable file. The execution process look like this. The source code is converted into a common intermediate language, which the CLI equivalent to assembly language for the CPU. So, ਜਦੋਂ भी CPU ਤੇ execute ਹੋਏਗਾ CIL, it's a CPU behave like a assembly language for the for that particular program. So, ਜਿਹੜਾ CLI है that is work as a assembly language for the CPU. The CIL bytecode has instruction for the following group of tasks: load and the store, arithmetic, type conversions, object creation and manipulation, operand stack, managed, push pop, control transferring, branching, method of invocation and return through the exceptions, and last and monitor based concurrencies. So, just in time compilation, the bytecode compiled system source code is translated into intermediate representation known as the bytecode. The bytecode is not a machine code for any particular computer, and many may be portable among the computer architecture. The bytecode may then be interpreted by the run on the virtual machine. The JIT compiler read the bytecode in many sections or fully or rarely and compiles then dynamically into the machine language, so program can run faster. So, Java perform the runtime check the various section of the code, and this is the reason of entire code is compiled at once. This can be done per file, per function, even any arbitrary code fragments. The code can be compiled when it is about to be executed, hence the name of just in time, and then cached or reused later without any reading to be the compiled. So, a common goal of using JIT technique is the reach of surpass performance static compilation while the maintaining the advantage of bytecode interpretation, much of heavy lifting, parsing original source code and performance of the basic optimization of handled compile time or priority of deployment. The compilation from bytecode machine code is much faster than compiler from the source. The deployed bytecode is portable unlike native code, since the runtime has control over the compilation like interpreted bytecode. It can run in the source sandbox compiler from bytecode machine code are easier to write because of the portable bytecode compiler has already done much of work. So, contrast of traditional interpreted virtual machine will simply interpret of bytecode generally with the much lower performance. Some of the interpreter even interpret source code without the step first compiling to bytecode with the even worse performance. Statically compiled code is native code compiled prior to deployment. The dynamic compilation environment is the one in which the compiler can be used during the execution. The instance of most common Lisp system have compile function which can compile the newer function rather than runtime. Its control part of the code, or this can also be compiled dynamically. In many separates provide the substantial performance advantage of static compiled code as well over the most JIT system. Thanks. अगर और कोई query होवे then you can be mail me and thank you.